Emma had never seen her parents look so worried. Her mother's hands trembled slightly as she held the thick sealed envelope between her fingers. Her father kept glancing around the room as if afraid someone might burst in and accuse them of something. Emma held her 5-month-old son Noah against her chest. His tiny fingers curled around her shirt, his warm cheek pressed against her collarbone. He smelled of milk and innocence. He was everything good in her world. Her parents had always been supportive, but today something in their faces was different. A solemnity, a quiet seriousness. Her mother spoke first. «Эмма, это вам. На то, чтобы вы могли дышать свободнее». Emma blinked. «What is it?" she whispered. Her father let out a long breath, then said softly, $300,000. Emma's knees went weak. Her mother quickly stepped closer and placed the envelope into her shaking hands. For Noah, her mother said. For your home, for your peace, you need a safe place for him, honey. A tear slipped down Emma's cheek. She hadn't cried in front of her parents in years. I don't know what to say. You don't have to say anything, her father murmured. Just use it wisely for your child, for your future. Emma hugged them tightly, harder than she had since she was a teenager. It wasn't the money that broke her, but the feeling of being seen, understood, supported. Behind her, from the kitchen doorway, Michael stood with crossed arms, his face unreadable. He had always struggled with anything that came from Emma's parents. Not because they were bad, but because he had been raised to believe that outside help meant weakness. Or at least that's what his mother, Teresa, had taught him since childhood. Emma didn't see the flicker of irritation cross his eyes. She only felt relief, for the first time in months. Noah finally fell asleep after hours of fussing. Emma tucked him into his crib gently, smoothing the blanket over his tiny legs. She stepped quietly into the living room and found Michael hunched over his laptop. At first, she didn't pay attention, until she heard it, the soft ding of a completed bank transfer. His screen was still lit. She froze. Her stomach dropped. She stepped closer, unable to look away. $300,000, transferred to Teresa Landon. Her breath caught. Michael. He turned lazily as if nothing unusual had happened. Oh, hey, didn't hear you. Emma pointed at the screen, her voice barely a whisper. What did you do? He turned fully toward her, puzzled. What do you mean I sent the money to my mom? Emma stared at him, horrified. For her renovation, he added casually. Her lips parted. Michael, she whispered, that money was for our son. He laughed, actually laughed. Emma, come on, he's 5 months old, he doesn't need anything expensive. Mom said the same thing, Monty, babies barely need anything. Just diapers and formula. She felt something inside her twist painfully. Michael, she said again, voice trembling. My parents gave that money to me for Noah, for our home. He sighed loudly, annoyed by her tone. Your parents don't know how to prioritize, my mom does. She said this was the smart move. Emma stared at him, stunned. Why would you listen to her about money that isn't hers? Michael shrugged. Because she knows better, Emma, she always has, and she said you'd overreact. Overreact. He used that word so often it felt like a blade. I can't believe you stole the money my parents gave me, she whispered. Michael's expression hardened. I didn't steal anything, I managed it, which is more than you would have done. Emma stepped back as if slapped. He didn't even realize what he'd done. And that was the most terrifying part. Teresa arrived 2 days later. She didn't knock. She used a key. Emma stood frozen in the hallway, Noah on her hip as Teresa walked in like she owned the place. Oh, she said, glancing at Emma briefly. You're home. Then she brushed past her and went straight to Noah. She didn't smile at him, she inspected him. Still in these clothes? Still using that stroller? Honestly, Emma, I thought you cared about your child. Emma's jaw clenched. Teresa continued. Well, at least the renovation will be done soon. You'll thank me when we can visit for weeks at a time. Emma whispered. That money was for Noah. Teresa raised an eyebrow. Please. Babies don't need money, I do. I need a space to stay when I help you. You should be grateful. Grateful. For being robbed. For being disrespected. For being treated like a child in her own home. When Michael returned from work, he kissed his mother on the cheek. He didn't notice Emma's red eyes. He didn't ask how her day was. He didn't even see her. Emma noticed it immediately. The subtle way Teresa rearranged things in the house. Noah's bottles moved. Emma's sweater accidentally thrown out. The feeding schedule rewritten on the fridge, in Teresa's handwriting. Each tiny violation felt like another small theft. Not of money, of motherhood. Michael didn't see it, or pretended not to. When Emma tried to talk to him, he'd say the same rehearsed lines. Mom is just helping. You're too sensitive. Don't make problems where there aren't any. But there were problems. One night after Noah finally fell asleep, Emma overheard Teresa whispering to Michael in the kitchen. She's too emotional. She can't manage the household. You need to take charge. She's draining you. Emma pressed a hand to her mouth. Every insecurity she had, Teresa fed them into Michael like a drip of poison. He didn't resist it. He absorbed every drop. When Emma stepped into the kitchen, Michael stared at her like she had interrupted something important. Teresa smiled sweetly. Oh dear, we were just discussing how overwhelmed you seem. You should rest more. Let me handle Noah tomorrow. Emma held Noah tighter. No, she said softly. He needs me. Teresa exhaled dramatically. Of course he does. Babies cling to their mothers when they sense weakness. The words pierced deeply. Michael didn't defend her. He never did. Michael hadn't always been like this. There was a time, early in dating, when he had been attentive, warm, almost gentle. Emma had fallen for him because he seemed steady, dependable, protective. But she didn't understand the root of that dependability. Teresa. Michael had been raised in a home where every decision was corrected, every opinion challenged, every boundary erased. Teresa didn't raise a son. She shaped him like clay to remain hers forever. You don't need friends, Michael. You have me. Don't trust girls. They always betray. No one understands you like I do. You owe me everything. His father had left when Michael was 8. Teresa had weaponized that abandonment. Your father left because he didn't know how to appreciate us. You won't be like him, right? You won't leave me. Michael learned. Pleasing his mother. Safety. Displeasing her brought guilt, shame, punishment. So he became her shadow. Her obedient son. Her validation. By the time Emma entered his life, Michael believed his mother was always right. His mother was the smartest person alive. His mother's approval meant success. Women should adapt to his mother's standards. His mother's comfort, everyone else's needs. Emma used to think he was simply close with his mom. She hadn't known it was something much darker. Dependence, obligation, fear, control. Because if he ever disagreed with her, Teresa would freeze him out, ignore his calls, speak to him with sharp disapproval. Michael couldn't tolerate it. He had been trained not to. So when she wanted the $300,000, he obeyed like a boy, not like a husband, not like a father. It didn't happen all at once. It happened slowly, like erosion. Emma stopped decorating Noah's room because anything she chose wasn't good enough. She stopped cooking because Teresa loudly criticized her seasoning. She stopped giving opinions during conversations. They were dismissed before she finished speaking. She shrank, tiny bit by tiny bit. Some days she barely recognized her own voice when she answered, Yes, okay, sure, I understand. She didn't fight back anymore. Fighting made things worse. Teresa would tilt her head and say, Oh dear, why are you so hostile? This is why Michael is stressed. Michael would nod, tired, frustrated. Emma tried to explain, Your mother is pushing me out of everything. Michael sighed. Emma, you're imagining things. Mom would never do that. But Teresa was pushing her out. Not subtly and aggressively. She criticized Emma's breastfeeding, her sleep schedule, the food she bought, the clothes she wore, the way she held Noah. One afternoon, Emma walked into the nursery and found Teresa throwing away a pile of baby clothes her parents had gifted. These are cheap, Teresa said. You don't want your son to look poor. Emma shook with anger. That's not your decision to make. Teresa smirked. Michael agrees. Emma stared at her. And Teresa added casually, Oh, and don't worry. I'll buy something decent with our money. Our money. Emma felt the crack widen. It was raining the day everything shifted. Hard, relentless rain that tapped on the windows like impatient fingers. Teresa was in the living room scrolling through design catalogs for her renovation. She circled items she wanted with a thick, enthusiastic red marker. Marble countertops, imported tiles, gold finish fixtures, Emma passed by the table and froze. The total circled at the bottom was $12,000. Her heart dropped. More than the 300K. Much more. She stepped closer, scanning item after item, none of them necessary. All of them excessive. Teresa looked up casually. "Oh, don't touch that, it's my planning binder." Emma's voice shook. "You're spending more than the money we gave you." Teresa laughed. "Oh, honey, I've been adding to it myself. But this is all possible because of your little contribution." Emma felt nauseous. "You mean the contribution you stole from my son?" Teresa stood up slowly, predatory calm. "Michael made the decision, and he made the right one." Emma whispered. "You manipulated him." Teresa stepped closer, voice low and icy. "I have taken care of that boy since the day he was born. You think you can come in here for a couple of years and undo that?" Emma held her ground. "I'm his wife." "And I'm his mother," Teresa replied sharply. "Which means I come first." Emma felt something inside her collapse. Teresa smiled. "I will always come first." And at that moment, Emma knew something for certain. If she didn't protect Noah, no one would. It happened on a Thursday morning. Michael left his phone at home, something he never did, and he returned half an hour later, breathless, irritated. "Where is it?" he muttered, searching through drawers. Emma tried not to care. She was feeding Noah on the couch, gently rocking him as he drank. "Where is what?" she asked quietly. "My debit card," Michael said. "I left it here." He pulled open the small drawer under the counter, the one where they kept takeout menus, old cables, and Michael's scattered receipts. A folded piece of paper slipped out and fell to the floor. Emma didn't pay attention at first, until she saw Michael freeze. He bent down slowly, picked up the paper, unfolded it. His face stiffened. Emma's heartbeat quickened. "What is it?" she asked cautiously. Michael didn't answer immediately. His eyes scanned the paper again and again. His jaw tightened. His shoulders tensed. Finally, he handed it to her. A checky, from a luxury boutique. 18740R. Paid to. Ladon exclusive fashion. Billing address. Teresa Landon. Shipping address. Jessica Landon, Michael's sister. Emma swallowed hard. The items listed. Diamond-encrusted necklace. Designer heels. Couture dress. Silk robe. Hair extensions. Perfume collection. The purchase date? 3 days after the transfer. Emma felt her stomach twist. "She used our money," she whispered. Michael said nothing. "She dressed your sister like a princess with the money my parents gave us." Still nothing. And she didn't even bother hiding it. The check was in our drawer. Michael's voice was low, strained. Why would she?" Emma stared at him. Because Michael still believed the best about his mother. Because he didn't want to accept the truth. Because accepting it meant admitting he'd ruined everything. "Michael," Emma said softly, "your mother didn't need the money. She wanted control, and she used you. She used all of us." Michael sat down at the table, gripping the edge. His breathing grew shallow. His world, the one built on blind loyalty, began to fracture. Michael didn't want to believe the check. He didn't want to believe Emma. So he drove to his mother's house. But when he arrived, he didn't ring the doorbell. He heard voices from the open window above the porch, his mother's voice, sharp and animated. And then he transferred the entire amount. "You should have seen the numbers on the screen, Jess." His sister giggled. "That easy, wow. I can't believe he just sent it without asking his wife." "Oh, sweetie," Teresa laughed. "My Michael doesn't question me, never has, never will." Michael froze. Teresa continued. "He thinks I'm renovating. Meanwhile, look at your new necklace, isn't it stunning?" Jess gasped. "It's gorgeous, Mom, you're the best, and to think Emma's parents paid for all this?" Teresa scoffed. "Emma has no idea how money works. If it were up to her, they'd waste it on baby nonsense, can you imagine? Spending $300K on a 5-month-old? More laughter. "And Michael?" Jess asked. "He still thinks you're using it for the house?" "Oh, absolutely," Teresa said proudly. "He trusts me blindly. Always has. That's why he'll never leave me for some fragile little wife." Michael felt his lungs tighten. His mother's voice dropped. "And honestly, if that girl leaves him someday, it'll be better. She's too emotional, too needy, too weak. Michael deserves a woman who listens." Jess murmured, "Do you think she'll find out?" "Oh, who cares?" Teresa said. "Even if she does, Michael will take my side. He always does." Michael stumbled backward, nearly tripping off the step. His ears rang. His mother, the woman he trusted above everyone, was manipulating him, mocking him, using him, stealing from him, disrespecting his marriage. And worse, she was proud of it. He got into his car without ringing the bell, without confronting her, without breathing properly. All the way home, he felt numb. Emma saw it the moment he walked in. Something had broken. Something fundamental. Emma didn't ask where he'd gone. She just saw the haunted look in his eyes. Michael sat down across from her at the kitchen table. Noah slept peacefully in the nearby crib. "Emma," he said quietly, "I went to my mom's." Emma swallowed. "And?" He hesitated. "It wasn't what I expected." He rubbed his forehead, voice trembling. "I heard them talking, my mom and Jess." Emma didn't speak. She didn't want to interrupt the first cracks in his denial. Michael continued. They laughed about the money. They said I trusted her blindly, that I always would, that you—" He swallowed hard. "That you're weak. Emotional. A burden." Emma closed her eyes, pain flooding through her. Michael shook his head in disbelief. "I didn't think she would ever lie to me, not about money, not like this." Emma's voice was fragile. "She has been lying to us both for months." Michael looked devastated. For the first time, he reached for her hand. "Emma, I'm so sorry." Emma stared at him. But she didn't take his hand. Not because she didn't want to, but because something inside her had changed. He saw the distance, the emptiness, the loneliness he hadn't noticed before. "Emma, please tell me what to do." She took a long breath. She could have screamed. She could have poured out every ache. She could have begged him to choose her. But she didn't. "Michael, I can't tell you what to do. You're not a child. You have to choose for yourself." Michael lowered his head. And that simple truth, hurt him more than any lecture. When Teresa realized Michael hadn't called her for 2 days, she decided to drop by. As always, without invitation. She stormed into the house, shoving the door open. "Michael, Emma?" she called out. Emma was in the living room with Noah. Teresa approached, eyes blazing. "What did you say to my son? He's been avoiding me." Emma stayed calm. "I didn't say anything." Lies always infuriated Teresa. "Do not play innocent with me. I know you've been manipulating him, poisoning him against me." Emma didn't argue. Teresa stepped forward aggressively. "You think you can take him away from me? After everything I've done?" Emma spoke softly. "I'm not taking anything from you." But Teresa wasn't listening. "You think he'll choose you, over me, his own mother?" Emma didn't flinch. "He should choose his family." "I am his family," Teresa snapped. Emma held Noah a little tighter. "No, we are." The words hit Teresa like a slap. "You stupid, ungrateful girl," Teresa hissed, stepping closer. "You don't belong in this family, you never have." And that was the moment Michael walked in. He froze when he saw his mother towering over Emma, rage twisting her features. "Mom," he said sharply, "stop." Teresa turned. "Michael, thank God she's—" "Enough." The word came out hard, firm, unfamiliar. Teresa blinked, stunned. Michael rarely, almost never spoke to her like that. "Mom," he repeated, "you're not welcome here right now." Silence. Complete shock. "Michael," Teresa whispered, "you don't mean that." "I do." His voice cracked. "I heard everything." Teresa paled. What do you mean?" "I was at your house. I heard you and Jess laughing about the money, laughing about me, about Emma." Teresa's mouth opened and closed. "Michael, sweetie." "Don't call me that," Michael snapped. Emma's heart broke a little watching him. A boy finally standing up to the mother who raised him in chains. Teresa's face hardened. "You're throwing away your mother for her?" "No," he said quietly. "I'm throwing away the person who lied to me." For a moment, Teresa stood there, stunned, shaking, furious. Then she spat. "You'll regret this." And she walked out, slamming the door so hard Noah woke up crying. Michael ran to comfort him. Emma did too. But for the first time, they did it separately. Two people caring for the same child. From different worlds. That night, after Noah finally fell asleep, Emma packed quietly. Just one bag. Diapers. Formula. Tiny clothes. Birth certificate. His favorite blanket. She didn't take anything bought with Teresa's money. She didn't take anything Michael might claim she owed. She only took what a mother could not leave behind. Then she wrote the letter. Her hands shook the entire time. Michael, I can't raise our son in a house where I'm treated like an intruder. I can't stay where my voice has no meaning. Noah deserves peace. I deserve respect. I'm leaving before there's nothing left of me. Emma. She kissed Noah's forehead, kissed him again, and walked out. Michael didn't hear the door. He heard the silence afterward, and it destroyed him. Michael woke up to silence. Not the peaceful early morning kind. Not the soft quiet of a sleeping baby. A wrong silence. A hollow one. His hand reached across the bed, searching instinctively for Emma's warmth. Nothing, Em, he whispered sleepily. No answer. He sat up. The room felt unnaturally still. Noah? He called, stepping into the nursery. The crib was empty. A cold wave of shock swept through him. He checked the living room, no diaper bag. No stroller. Her coat gone. His throat tightened. Emma, Emma! His voice echoed back at him. Then he saw it. A folded letter on the kitchen table. His heart pounded as he picked it up. His hands trembled so violently he struggled to unfold it. He read it. Once, twice. By the third time he sank to the chair, head in his hands, chest tightening painfully. She was gone. Not for a walk. Not to get air. Not to clear her head. Gone. And she wasn't coming back. He pressed the letter to his forehead, gasping through the rising panic. Emma, please, no. He ran out the door, checking the driveway. Her car was gone. It hit him then. She hadn't left in anger. She'd left in despair. A despair he caused. He leaned against the cold wall and slid to the floor, breathing in ragged bursts. He had finally done it. He had pushed her too far, and this time there was no apology big enough to fix it. Michael spent the next 30 hours in a frenzied, sleepless search. He drove through neighborhoods, parks, gas stations, grocery stores. He checked hospitals, hotels, shelters, police stations. No one had seen a young woman with a 5-month-old baby. By the next morning, his face was drawn, his eyes red, his voice broken from constant calling. Emma, Emma! He returned home only once and to reread her letter, hoping for a clue he had missed. There was none. Only the line that stabbed deepest. I'm leaving before there's nothing left of me. He whispered into the air. There is something left, Emma, there is. Please come home. But the walls didn't answer. On the third day, a knock echoed through the empty house. Michael ran to the door. He froze. A woman in a dark navy jacket. Clipboard in hand. Expression neutral, professional, cold. Mr. Lane? She asked. Yes. I'm from Child Protective Services. We need to talk. Michael's stomach dropped. The woman continued. Your wife has filed for full custody of your son. His world stopped. What? No, she wouldn't. But she would. She had. The CPS worker handed him a packet. Additionally, she added, your wife has reported financial instability, coercive family influence, and unsafe emotional environment linked to your mother. Michael blinked fast, fighting dizziness. No, you don't understand. I love my son. I love Emma. I made mistakes, but... She raised a hand gently. This interview isn't to judge you, Mr. Lane. It's to determine whether your presence is beneficial or harmful to the child, given the circumstances. Circumstances. Such an innocent word for such a violent blow. Michael swallowed, voice cracking. Did Emma say where she's staying? The woman shook her head. She requested confidentiality and protection. She stated she's afraid of your mother interfering. Michael closed his eyes. Of course she did. After what Teresa had done, after the words she'd said, any mother would. The CPS worker stood. We will contact you with the hearing date. Until then, you are not permitted to contact your wife directly. All communication must go through her attorney. Michael inhaled sharply. No, please, I need to see my son. I need to explain. I'm sorry, she said softly. But decisions must prioritize the child's emotional stability. As she walked away, Michael collapsed onto the couch. For the first time, the gravity hit him fully. He had truly lost them. 2 days later, a courier delivered a thick envelope. Michael stared at it for several minutes before opening it, as though not opening it might change its contents. But reality didn't bend. Inside, custody petition, evidence list, witness statements, financial documents, Teresa's spending records, and Emma's personal statement. He hesitated before reading it, but he forced himself. Her handwriting was neat, controlled, painfully calm. I want sole custody of my son, Noah. The father, Michael Lane, allowed $300,000, gifted by my parents for Noah's future, to be transferred without consent to his mother, who misused the funds for personal luxury purchases. Those funds were meant for our child's needs and security. This breach of trust, compounded by emotional pressure from his mother, created a hostile environment. I no longer feel safe or respected in that home. I request full custody and limited visitation rights for Michael until he demonstrates stability and independent decision-making separate from his mother. Michael covered his mouth with his hand, choking on a sob. She didn't hate him. She just couldn't trust him. And trust, it was everything. He flipped to the witness list. His heart clenched. Emma's mother, Emma's father, a neighbor who reported hearing Teresa yelling, a pediatric nurse who had seen Emma crying in the clinic bathroom, a friend Emma had confided in, each name another nail in the coffin. He turned the page and froze. There in cold legal print, requested outcome, full physical and legal custody to Emma Lane, supervised visitation for Michael Lane, no contact between child and Teresa Lane. He closed the folder, shaking uncontrollably. Supervised, he would only see his son with a monitor in the room. No alone time. No bedtime stories. No late-night cuddles. No father-son mornings. Just a broken man under supervision. He whispered into the empty house. What have I done? What did I do? To lose everything. The silence felt like an answer. The courtroom smelled of old paper and disinfectant. Emma sat on one side, not glaring, not angry, just distant, protective, determined. Noah slept in his carrier beside her. Michael sat on the opposite side, hands clasped so tightly his knuckles turned white. When Emma finally glanced at him, he felt his heart shatter. She looked away quickly. Her lawyer stood. Your Honor, this case is about the safety and well-being of an infant whose father made reckless financial decisions under the manipulative influence of his mother. Michael flinched. His lawyer shifted uncomfortably. Emma's attorney continued. Not only did Mr. Lane unilaterally transfer all $300,000 of funds meant for the child, but those funds were misused by his mother. Teresa, sitting behind Michael, hissed loudly. Lies. The judge slammed her gavel. One more outburst and you will be removed. Teresa shrank back. Emma's lawyer placed the receipts on the evidence table. Luxury boutiques, expensive jewelry, designer fashion, all for Michael's sister. The judge frowned. Then came the recording. Emma's friend had taken it accidentally. Teresa yelling at Emma on the porch during a previous argument. You don't belong in this family. Michael will always choose me over you. The judge looked at Michael. Mr. Lane, how do you respond to this? Michael's voice shook. I didn't know. I didn't see. I trusted my mother too much. I didn't protect my wife or my son, and I am ashamed. Teresa gasped softly, offended. The judge spoke coldly. Mrs. Lane's testimony shows she felt unsafe. Combined with financial irresponsibility and emotional manipulation, this environment was unsuitable for a child. Michael's throat burned. He didn't try to argue. What could he say? The truth was already laid out in front of everyone. Finally, Emma stood, her voice soft but steady. I don't want to destroy Michael. I just want our son to be safe. I want peace. I want stability. And I can't have that around his mother. Not after everything she said and did. Michael looked at her with shattered eyes. He wanted to scream, I'm sorry, to fall to his knees, to beg. But apologies couldn't erase consequences. The judge spoke at last. Given the evidence, I grant full physical and legal custody to Emma Lane. Michael felt the floor drop. In addition, Michael Lane will have supervised visitation only twice a month. His lungs stopped working. And until further notice, Teresa Lane is prohibited from contact with the child. Teresa let out a choked cry. Michael swallowed hard. Your Honor, please, he whispered. But the judge had already moved on. The gavel struck. Case closed. Family destroyed. After court, Emma didn't approach him. She picked up Noah gently, adjusting his blanket. She walked past him with quiet steps. Michael turned slightly, whispering, Emma, please. She didn't stop, didn't look back, just kept walking, her eyes fixed forward, and he couldn't chase her. Not anymore. Outside the courthouse, Teresa approached him furious. How could you let them do this to me? How could you let that girl ruin our family? Michael turned. For the first time in his life, he wasn't afraid. He wasn't obedient. He wasn't her little boy. He looked straight into her eyes and said, You ruined it. Not Emma. You. Teresa froze. Michael continued, his voice low, shaking. Your lies, your manipulation, your need to control me. You cost me my wife. You cost me my son. You cost me everything. Teresa's mouth opened in disbelief. Michael, sweetie. I'm not your sweetie, he whispered, not anymore. He walked past her without looking back. For the first time, Teresa was the one left standing alone. Michael reached his car, leaned against it and let himself slide to the pavement. And finally, after weeks of denial, and anger, and desperation, he broke. Completely. Sobs tore out of him, raw and painful. He pressed his forehead against his knees, whispering, I lost them. I lost my family. God, what have I done? He stayed there until the sun began to set. Alone, empty. Crushed under the weight of a single irreversible truth. He had chosen the wrong woman to obey, and the right woman had walked away. Forever.